Hello and welcome to the On Your Head Son podcast. You had 2 episodes of us last week. It's just one this week. No midweek games. What a shame.
They're going to miss out. They're going to miss out. They absolutely loved it last week. They were queuing at the door. They wanted to see us live. Soon we're going to be selling out arenas, James. That's all I know.
Where would be the first arena that you would like to sell out?
Probably Victoria in Surbiton. Yeah.
The Victorian Surbiton would be nice. And after
Yeah.
that, I'm thinking the Maracanã in Brazil.
Yeah, exactly. We've got to start somewhere, and then we've got to get there straight away. I think afterwards we've got to go right. We'll start here, see what it's like, and then go straight to American
Maracanã.
baby.
Perfect. And well, I saw you at the weekend.
We did.
And so did our loyal followers on our live stream.
Yeah, sorry about it, guys.
We did a completed. Yeah, we do apologise. We completed a 12 pubs of Christmas around Hampstead. Did you enjoy yourself?
I did, yeah, I had a really good time. My voice is still a bit funny. I've got a very bad cold now, but we soldier on because we love it, don't we? And also, it's a brilliant day out, actually. Lovely day, lovely, beautiful pubs we went to in Hampstead. So yeah, very good.
Yeah, I do actually have a side hustle apart from this job as well. If you do want us to organise a pub tour, please do let James and Tobbs pub tours give us a shout. We're not like limited or anything. You just need to message us. We'll sort your pub tour.
LLP,
yeah, something
exactly,
like that.
Yeah.
But what I will say, away from pub crawls and festivities, another great weekend of football.
I know, so many goals, weren't there? It's amazing.
And what better place to start with a team that cannot stop scoring? Fulham,
unbelievable, isn't it? 5 goals, 10 goals in 2 games. Before that, I think it was 3 goals against Liverpool. Before that was 3 goals against someone else. I think maybe Wolves. Just ridiculous the run they're on. Different goal scorer every game. Where's this come from? I actually don't know.
I have no idea. I genuinely considered them one of the low-hanging fruits above the bottom 3, 4, 5, whatever we want to call it now.
Yeah.
But that was what I was going to say. So we didn't actually say the score. So it was 5-0 against West Ham. But from your expert analytical mindset, what has Marco Silva done to turn it around for Fulham?
What has he actually done is... I honestly don't know. It just looks like they're just playing with a lot more confidence than actually before, really. Paulinho, again, was absolutely controlling the pitch again, just absolutely. And actually Kearney as well also looked very comfortable in centre mid, which was brilliant to see. Their team's good. Like Bassi as well is a very good centre back. But obviously Ajax was very good and very good against Arsenal at the start of the season. He does go missing in a few games, and they're just scoring every time they go forward. Jimenez looks absolutely reinvigorated without his headband now. It's good.
What I'm enjoying, Marco Silva has always been known for playing kind of a fun, exciting brand of attacking football. And I feel like maybe the back end of last season and then the beginning of this, they just seem to have lost that a bit. And it's difficult to know why. He was linked with a move to Saudi Arabia. Maybe it was to do with that. Mitrovic was probably both a blessing and a curse to the team, really, because a big personality. But with him now gone, they just seem to be playing really fun football. Do I think they're going to qualify for Europe? No, but I think they're going to be comfortable and they're going to entertain.
Yeah, but I think at the start of the season, we put them probably in a bottom 3 entertaining teams to watch. Maybe probably one of the least entertaining teams you could ever watch, like them, Palace, and I don't know, maybe well, actually, we thought Burnley was going to be entertaining, but Sheffield, maybe that kind of vibe. But I tell you what, Fulham has absolutely surprised us these last 5 games. Scoring goals for fun. They do concede a lot of chances. Even today, Bowen, I think, should have scored a couple.
Yeah.
You've also got to remember, this is West Ham's first team. Like, looking at their starting lineup, they're not missing any players at all, really.
Well, you could argue Antonio.
Yeah, well, okay, fine. Let's not not really a miss if you ask me. But yeah, no, I thought Fulham just completely outplayed them again. 10 goals in about 4 days. It's brilliant to see.
Yeah, and just a quick note, as a humble pie for now. We haven't used that phrase in a while, but I did put Raul Jimenez as the worst signing of the season.
You did.
Now for 3.5 million. I mean, he's earned that money back now. I think just there or thereabouts.
Yeah, definitely.
He looks amazing. One through ball he played through to Willian right when it was 0-0. Little scoot pass was gorgeous.
Yeah.
He scored with his head, which always makes me wince whenever he goes to head a ball. I don't like seeing it.
No.
But I don't know this, but is that his first headed goal since the head injury? It wouldn't surprise me.
I want to say, yeah, it's the first time I've really seen him win a header since his head injury, if I'm being brutally honest. I think every time he looks like he's backing out, but now he flew into that, and it's the first time. Like, I think it's again just playing with confidence. It's such a weird sport, such a futile like kind of thing. Like if you're playing with confidence, like somehow you just end up playing so much better than if you're not. It's such a strange sport.
It is indeed.
Yeah, it is.
Team that are playing with complete and utter confidence at the moment. Again, a team that we wrote off, which is Bournemouth, who hammered Man United 3-0. It could have been more.
Yeah, should have been more. I mean, again, Man U looked absolutely appalling. I mean, this is what we said before about Man U. It's just you could never know what team you're going to get with them. Obviously, played really well against Chelsea the other night. And then this game, I think it was the first minute, Fernandes plays that loose pass to McTominay, and they just go straight through. I mean, a brilliant. Bournemouth did capitalise on that chance anyway, but then they missed a lot of other pretty, not sitters, but very decent half chances.
I think watching Man United try to play out from the back. I wrote it down in the notes here. It's actually funny.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, and they can't do it. They're not cohesive, or they don't have the right tactics instilled, or the right passing patterns instilled by the coaching staff, or maybe the players just aren't good enough. I don't know what it is, but it's almost laughable.
I agree.
That they just can't seem to string a few passes together.
No, I mean, like the first goal is the perfect example of it. You got Fernandes in the deep left back position, trying to play a little chip ball down like through to like McTominay in the middle, and he's literally right on the corner flag where he's playing it from. And it just like, where's the pattern from that? How's that going to end up being a like? Yes, it might work one in 10 times, but that's what Fernandes is like. He's just he's a complete moments player, and yes, I think he makes a team worse a lot of the time, but also that comes up with these amazing moments where you actually go, well, fine, and then you forget about these other chances that he gives away and stuff like that. So yeah, different. But I mean, you can't take away from Bournemouth.
Well, no, I do want to. The thing is, it's difficult because I think we've just spoken about cursing Man United rather than praising Bournemouth. I do want to. There's one more thing that I want to bring up on Man United first, and that's Sofian Amrabat. And for me, he just looks like a headless chicken. He's just, if you watch the game, he's all over the place, all over the pitch, covering every blade of grass, but not in a good way. It's like he either hasn't been told where he's playing, or he's not listening to instructions on where he's playing. And then I think back to when all of us, or most people, first became accustomed to him, which was playing for Morocco in the World Cup. That's what he did for Morocco. He covered every blade of grass. He won every ball, played the ball quickly forward, which was amazing. However, we're now in the Premier League, and the tactics involved in the Premier League is of such a higher standard than international football that I just don't think he can rely on just running around, sprinting, winning tackles everywhere. But there is a player there. I really genuinely think there's a good player there, but it's coming down to a manager or a really strong coaching team to coach exactly where he needs to be at every time. But for now, he looks way out of his depth.
I completely agree, but I think also you've got to look at that balance on the midfield of where they actually are. You've got Fernandes, Amrabat, and McTominay playing together. Technically, McTominay wants to play as a second striker at the moment. Fernandes also just floats wherever he wants to. So then you've got Amrabat there. So you're saying to Amrabat, you've just got to hold here. And that's just taking
Yeah.
away what he is good at, really. Like you said, like for Morocco, what he was good at was just completely going absolutely everywhere. And even for Fiorentina, like I only watched him in the what it was Europa Conference, really, to be honest. But even then, he was just chasing down every ball, and like he had someone just next to him who would actually just sit. So actually, what he's being asked to do, whether he is being asked to do, who knows? But from that position, you'd say from those midfield three, he should be the one sitting. But is that necessarily his best? Is that necessarily his best attribute? I wouldn't really say so. So
No.
I don't know. It's just a weird balance to that team.
Yeah.
Still, the amount of
Um,
money they spent, but I thought they'd be really good this year.
I thought they'd push on. I did.
Yeah,
But it's amazing the amount of money they've spent and the comparative little amount that Bournemouth have spent. I know they have spent for them
yeah.
quite over the summer, but just how good that team looks at the moment.
I know it's ridiculous.
They look like a right handful.
Yeah,
I think like honourable mentions definitely to Semenyo as ever, but for me, like the player that I want to bring up is Tavernier. I remember watching him a couple of times last season, and I think he had a few injury problems, but he always had that little spark, like even last year. But he looks great. He's a really creative player.
yeah. No, I couldn't agree more on that. I think actually Justin Kluivert as well was playing really well.
Yeah,
On that note, I think his runnings, like actually creating space for Solanke to kind of drop in a little bit more,
yeah,
and also then for Tavernier and Semenyo to be a bit more creative. I think it's worked really well. And the other one is Cook. Cook completely dominated that game, I'd say, from
yeah,
where he was from centre mid. He'd literally intercepted so many, let's say, loose passes from McTominay or Fernandez or whoever, but he intercepted so many passes in that game. And yeah, looked really good. Like Bournemouth, again, they're on a great run. I think they've won 5 in the last 6 or 4 in the last 6 or something like that.
yeah.
It's a brilliant little run they're on. Again, massively surprising. I think everyone almost had them as 17th, 16th, but no, they look exciting. And the manager looks great, doesn't he? Comes
I
across brilliantly.
I was thinking actually, just watching just some of the highlights just then. The standard of managing in the Premier League is really high.
It's excellent.
It's
Yeah.
really good at the moment. And then there are some people that just like stand out for the opposite reason. And actually, do you know what? I'm going to move on to that because I want to actually praise a manager and absolutely hammer into another manager. And I want to talk about Sheffield United and
Oh,
the return of Chris Wilder and them beating Brentford 1-0.
cut me open, and I bleed Sheffield United.
Love that. That is Mr. Chris Wilder. But
Yeah.
whilst whilst tactically, and again, I did just watch the highlights of this game. I can't see analytically what Sheffield United were doing different to what they're doing under Heckingbottom. But what you would see just straight away, there is this passion, there's this desire to win the ball high up the pitch,
Hmm.
and they, and on top of that, and I hate just to sound like a generic match today pundit, there's just a real feel good feeling. Like you can see it there
No,
at Bramall Lane. Whereas under like Heckingbottom, it just looked like the most miserable place to go and play football in the entire world.
I agree.
Particularly like I imagine that Sheffield United fans now want to go to every game.
I know, definitely. Like you could actually see empty seats, couldn't you, under Heckingbottom? Whereas
Yeah,
now Chris Wilder's back, and it's just again that feel good factor just looks absolutely brilliant. And I mean, you saw him celebrate for Sheffield's goal, and
yeah.
yes, an unbelievable goal. So I
Hmm.
mean, you definitely should be celebrating. But the passion he was showing was just like, yeah, he's back, brilliant. I love it. Long may it continue. I kind of want Sheffield to go on a run,
Yeah, no,
and
it's
kind of
it's
see.
weird. Like and maybe it's just the way that the story has been painted in the games or the highlights or the punditry that we watch on TV.
Yeah,
But it it just looks like a fun place again, and it looks and suddenly I now want Sheffield United to do well, whereas before I really wanted to break the record for the lowest point score ever.
I can't now. They can't now. It's only three
No, I know.
points for them to. Well, they can still do it, but yeah. So no, it's brilliant to see, though, isn't it? I mean, a word on Brentford is they look completely lost. Watching that, just like I know they've got a lot of injuries and everything, but I mean, Sheffield was absolutely tearing them apart. They should have scored a lot more goals than just one in this game. The goal they did score, they shouldn't have scored. Really, it was his first goal in the Premier League, and it's an absolute worldie. But I mean, Brentford just looked. It didn't really look like they had any intensity. The complete opposite of how Sheffield were looking. But I think Brentford always struggle against those lower teams. But against those big teams, they seem to put in a really decent performance, I'd say.
I go back to your earlier point. I think we can't. I mean, you have to because
You
you have
can't
to judge
judge
a
them.
team by their squad. But they're missing so many players.
No,
They
I know.
really are. And I wouldn't be worried as a Brentford fan at the moment because they lost that game. They just need a little break, a little bit of luck in getting some players back, and I think they'll be back on it again.
No, I completely agree. Completely agree on that. It's difficult.
Cool. Well, another. I mean, I can't believe we didn't start with this one, Matt, because we're talking about your nominated Premier League team versus my nominated most hated team in the Premier League. So
Palace Liverpool.
Not Palace Liverpool. It was. Do you want to sing it?
No, not today. I got a cold, so not today. I'm waiting until they break the top spot, which is going to happen at Christmas. They're going to be on top of Christmas.
Come on.
They're going to be on top of Christmas.
Give us a little sing song.
Hi ho, Aston Villa. Everywhere you go now, baby. I see the sun is shining, and it waits for me.
Yeah, I love that.
What a song. 1-0. We absolutely love it. Go on, Aston Villa. Go on, John McGinn. Go on, John McGinn.
Absolutely. Come on, John.
That's what we love. It's brilliant. Best goal of the season, I'd say. Better than Garnacho's.
Interestingly enough, right? So this game, right, whilst it was a really, really good goal. Like
only 1-0.
The pattern of play. Really, really good goal. But it was a very different performance to win to their win over Manchester City in the week, on Wednesday, I think it was. So they absolutely tore apart Man City, didn't get a kick. Whereas today, Arsenal were the better team on the day. They were significantly. But you just saw this absolute dogged performance from Aston Villa, and almost like a real drive and desire to keep hold of that winning run at home. And just like they beat, like we actually think about this, they just beaten Man City and Arsenal in a row.
No, I know.
That's crazy.
It really is, and again, like you said, two completely different performances. One you get completely outclassed, which is unheard of, outclassing Man City. The next one you throw in this dogged performance against Arsenal, who, by the way, for me, was the best I've seen in this season, comfortably. And I know it's stupid to say because they lost, but I thought they were it actually made me like Arsenal again. I'd say this game, watching it, where you actually go like, what they're creating here, it was all about wingers running in, Martinelli, Saka, like completely direct kind of football. Havertz also looked really good again. But just Villa being dogged and just getting in there. And it's completely summed up by Emi Martinez, who is an absolute god. Like literally, and obviously he was at Arsenal for 5-6 years and only played for that half a season. Why Arsenal didn't keep on to him, I do not know. But he's an absolute bully. Like he comes out with like a little black eye at the end of it after that Havertz kind of goal that obviously didn't stand. I think it was a bit harsh, but oh well. And he cheers to the fans. He's just an I love him so much. He's a brilliant player and brilliant goalkeeper. Best goalkeeper in the world. So yeah.
Not quite. I mean, what? Because he won the Golden Glove.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
What? Because he fucked the glove.
Yeah, you can't argue with facts. You can't argue with facts.
Okay. Yeah, no, I do agree. And Arsenal were unlucky, very unlucky, not to get anything from this game. There was one, in my mind, Stonewall penalty, which Jermaine Genius on Match Today says wasn't a penalty. I don't know what footage he's looking at. The goal itself is a funny one because the Havertz disallowed goal is a funny one because by the letter of the law that doesn't stand because he handballs it on the way into the goal. However, Matty Cash also handballs it at some point, but because that's not anything to do with him scoring a goal, that's not an important handball. It's a rule. It's a bad rule, but that was the correct decision.
I completely agree. Completely agree. It's a correct decision, but by logic and kind of actually watching kind of a lot of football, that goal should have stood. For me, and also it should have been a penalty. And I mean, Arsenal created a lot. Odegaard missed some sitters in this game, particularly. Jesus didn't really have a chance from memory, but Odegaard missed a lot of sitters in this game. But I mean, you can't take it away from Aston Villa.
Don't take it away. And let's all laugh at Mikel Arteta looking really sullen and miserable in the stands
and not being able to do anything.
That actually really made my weekend. When it comes to football, at least it was hilarious. I love seeing him miserable.
Yeah, you're not very nice to him. But yeah, I mean, it was quite funny to him not being able to do anything about it. And
yeah, I know.
You've got
Unai,
and you've got Unai on the side. You got Unai on the side, just like, what a vampire! What a man! I absolutely love him. This team is so much fun. This team is so much fun.
Very, very quick, because I don't want to spend forever on it. But why can't they win away? Aston Villa, they're brilliant at home. They can win away, obviously. Yeah. But why is their form so different?
I think it's to do with. But this is where I don't really fully understand it, because their style of play is counter-attacking, which usually means it would suit you away from home, to be honest. But I think it's just to do with just a complete, I don't know, confidence things, because they still create a lot of chances away from home, but they just don't score. They just don't seem to put it away.
I've never really understood it, like the difference between home and away from, other than the fact that you're in a more comfortable place. It's the area you live in, the way you play most of the time. Get that. You've got the whole fans behind you, and the atmosphere should be on your side. But other than that, I don't really understand the difference. I don't understand why teams can go on these most amazing runs at home, they're not away.
No, I do completely agree. I mean, like, the teams they've lost to away as well, I think it's actually maybe to do with not being up for the games. So we drew to Bournemouth. I'm just having a look. They lost to Nottingham Forest. They beat Tottenham. They drew to Wolves. It's a lot of those kind of games where maybe they're just not up for it when they go, and it could be as simple as that. Just where obviously when you're playing in Europe and when you're playing against these big teams, you're obviously going to be way more up for it than you are when you're playing against these littler teams. And maybe it's something as simple as that. I don't really know. I couldn't tell you, and I'm sure that's what Unai's saying, because it doesn't make any sense, because the way this team plays should be suiting playing away from home.
Yeah. 100% agree on that. And I'm going to use an example here of another team that play superb at home, but are really, really struggling away from home at the moment, and that's Newcastle, who were torn apart by Tottenham. They were absolutely awful. So Spurs won 4-1 at home. And can I just say, I love this game.
I love this game. I love this game.
I haven't said that in years. I don't know where that came from, but Patrice just suddenly popped into my head.
Evra, Tottenham legend, isn't he, Patrice Evra? So
yeah, absolutely.
Of course,
but no, honest, that was such a fun game to watch. Newcastle did have some chances as well. They really did, but Tottenham were amazing. Son was brilliant. So was Richarlison.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that was really like I really want Richarlison to do really well. I don't know why. I actually hated him for a lot of the time when he was at Everton, and when he was struggling, I found it quite funny. But now, for some reason, I actually want him to do really well. I can't tell you why, but I mean, Son, mainly I want to talk about Son in this game, because he tore Trippier apart. I haven't seen someone do that to Trippier in a very, very, like, he's played against Mbappe the other week and completely shut him down. And yet Son just particularly the first goal, I think it was, he just lined him up straight away and just took it round him. Just a couple of step overs, took it round him. And it's just, I haven't seen that happen to Trippier in so long. But I mean, Son, unbelievable. It's brilliant. And he's become I think it's 7th player or 8th player to score 10 goals a season or something. For 8 seasons or 9, I can't remember what it is. But ridiculous player.
Yeah.
Doesn't get the credit.
I think I would say he gets a lot of credit. So he had a terrible season last year, by his own standards, but he was carrying an injury for a lot of it. But I would say he does get the credit, and I mean he's superb. That the whole front line, I think an honourable mention to a player that isn't getting the goals quite at the moment in Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
I think he hit the post twice in this game. He's getting closer, but he is like his pace and movement is stretching teams really, really well, which is making space for the likes of Kulusevski to come inside and play that almost. Kulusevski's kind of in some ways filling that Maddison role.
The free role, I know.
Yeah,
it's weird, isn't it? But also, he's just a completely different. He's doing it very differently. Maddison obviously wants to get involved in every bit of a play, but Kulusevski's just pace. It's just like he gets the ball. He's so direct. It's just and it's such a weird. Like Tottenham is such an entertaining team to watch. I know we've said about 100 times this season, but I mean, we thought without Maddison they'd completely struggle and go away, and they did almost for a few games, but they still played really well. And I mean, this game. Completely, like Newcastle weren't even there. They were just an afterthought, really. I know they had a chance at the start, but that was the minute Tottenham scored. I don't think Newcastle really got a leg in after that.
I agree. I mean, another mention for them on the injury list, which seems to be ever growing. But seems to be a lot of them this season with that extra minutes at the end of the game seem to be killing clubs.
I think it's also Champions League as well. These clubs like your Brightons, your Newcastle. I think first time doing that, it's always a bit of a shock, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think going back to obviously what Alan Shearer says, Alan Shearer is not a fan that people could say people are tired or fatigued. Doesn't understand it. He just doesn't understand how a footballer can be fatigued when it's your job. You've got the best sports physios in the world. XYZ. How can you be tired? And I think it's quite obvious you can be tired. It's quite obvious.
No, but Alan Shearer, as you know, is my hero. So I believe everything he says. So I agree 100% with Alan Shearer.
Okay, that's fine then. Yeah.
Well, and I love the way that after every single bit of commentary or punditry he does, he's like, and he passed it there, and it should be in the back of the net. This time, and it should be in the back of the net.
It does too. That's because if he were there, it would be. It's because if he were there.
Yeah.
But a player that might catch him is Mo Salah going to catch him? No, why not? Only 110 goals, 150 Premier League goals.
And how old is Mo Salah now?
I don't know, 29, 30, you want to say maybe?
No, I think he's 32, 33.
31.
31.
Yeah.
He looks a lot older.
He does. I'm surprised.
I think that since he's come to Liverpool, I think he's only been there for maybe, might be wrong here, 6, maybe 7 seasons.
2016.
But I feel like he's aged about 20 years.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. 2017, he joined Liverpool.
Yeah, so 6 years. And I would say that he's aged 20 years.
Yeah, that's fair. He's
gone from looking like a 22-year-old to a 42-year-old.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, to be fair, in 6 seasons or whatever it is, he's then gone on to score 150 Premier League goals. That is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And what you've got to remember as well is that he is not an out-and-out striker.
Yeah.
He's a winger it kind of was. It's not like the first player to ever do it in the entire world, but it was a new type of player and a new position that Firmino was like the one sacrificing himself so that Salah could get the goal. Salah and Mane, we should say. But Salah in particular get all the goals. But 150 Premier League goals. This one wasn't his finest. Deflected goal. And I mean, let's talk as well. So we haven't actually said the score. So score was Palace 1, Liverpool 2. This game was all Palace. It really was all Palace until
Jefferson Lerma was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, but what a miss!
What a miss! No, I agree. But I said at the start of the season, I thought that was a really good signing for Crystal Palace. I genuinely do, because I think at Bournemouth he was always that one player that I looked at and went, actually, if they were to go down, that's who I'd want on my team. And obviously Palace signed him. I thought he played really well this game. He came off in about the 85th minute, and then there was a red card, and then it was like 2 goals. So
Yeah.
not that it's just obviously him that was doing, but I think yes, he missed that absolute sitter. He also could have passed, I think, a couple of times when he shot from a while away. Yeah, it was all Palace. It's weird, isn't it?
It was all Palace, but
And they've been awful.
yeah, they have been awful, which I think was a surprise to everyone. I mean, other than the fact that Klopp hates playing at 12:30. But yeah, well, so I thought I put here a weird substitution, right? So Liverpool were 1-0 down, and the substitution that Klopp made was taking Nunez and Szoboszlai off and bringing on Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. Where like I watched the first half of this game, but not the second half. I can imagine if you're a Liverpool fan being completely perplexed and bemused by that decision, even though nothing was working at the moment. Surely the players that are going to get the chances or create the chances are Szoboszlai and Nunez.
But do you want a chance to fall to Nunez?
No, you don't want it to fall to him, but you want him to stretch the team.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree.
Create space for someone else like Salah. But almost instantly after that happened, Jordan Ayew got sent off.
That wasn't a red. That wasn't a red. It just wasn't. It was. I know it was a second yellow, but it was just like that is a soft decision.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't. I mean. I don't disagree, but So then from that, Salah goes and scores straight away.
Yeah.
But I don't think they would have been in this game. I thought Palace would have won, had the red card not happened. I really do.
Yeah.
And then obviously Harvey Elliott pops up with the winner, which again, Liverpool, for all their flaws,
Liverpool are top
of the league, and
don't get it. Don't get this Premier League season.
I think that Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park summed it up quite well when he said that Liverpool find a way.
They do. They do.
They do, and that's exactly what they're doing. They've won the most points from losing positions this year. They seem to have this knack of not giving up, similar to Arsenal, to be fair.
Yeah.
But they seem to be getting a lot of last-minute goals, and we'll see. Is that like if you were talking like Alan Hansen, Mark Lawrenson commentary from the mid 2000s or late 90s, you'd say that's championship material. That is.
It is. It is late goals. Late goals is what you need to win a title.
Exactly. It's not always playing at your best, is it?
Yeah. No. Exactly. And I mean, speaking of late goals, Everton, Chelsea. There weren't any. There weren't any in that one.
Yeah, there was.
Was there? Was the second goal very late? Was that the second goal?
Yeah.
Was that very late?
Yeah, because Sean Dyche was complaining
about
there being 7 minutes at a time, and then about 2 minutes into it, Robin!
It's brilliant, isn't it? But I mean, watching Everton again, brilliant again. They'd be 10th or 9th, I think now, if they didn't have this 10-point deduction. Doucouré is just an absolute superstar for this team. I'm not sure he's really going to be transferable to another team. He'd be as good, but under this system where he has got his whole own like little free role, that Maddison role, that's what I'm going to call it for Doucouré, and he's absolutely bossing the whole pitch. I love it. Love to see it.
Abdoulaye Maddison.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he's better.
Yeah, 100%. Him. Sean Dyche has got Everton purring, and what he's done is he's brought the feel-good factor back to the club as well. He really has, and like he even said it in the interview afterwards, like everyone jumping on like Dobbin at the end. I can't stop saying Dobbin now.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Like you could see what he's trying about is the passion for the football club, and you can see that like the players as well. That like they're so in it.
Yeah, I love it. I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it.
You love to see it, don't you? Whereas Chelsea are
don't love to see it.
Absolute shambles. They, like we said in the last podcast, like what are they? And I don't know what they are. And what I've written here is I think they need to get rid of their owner, get a new owner with a lot of money, and then buy a whole new squad and splash some cash, because the whole team and the whole what the whole project, the whole everything just isn't working. They look awful.
Yeah, they really do. Again, like Man U on the wherever it was on Wednesday night or Tuesday night, they looked dreadful in that game. This game as well, they didn't even get a foot in at all. But really, the whole game, I know maybe for expected goals, they might have probably got more. Well, actually, I doubt they did get more. But
No,
possession will go to 73%. But even so, it was dull to watch. And this team just doesn't make any sense to anyone, I don't think. I don't understand what Pochettino's done or doing at all.
no, I really don't. I think they right. So if we analyse their team right from back to front, and let's quickly talk about Chelsea. See,
Yeah,
goalkeeper, they need a goalkeeper. I think centre backs, they've
Ramsdale.
got some centre backs there, and I think they're okay there. Wing backs, they have two of arguably the best wing backs in the league, but they can't stay fit, so there's no point having them.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you should not, you might as well just sell them, and go and play in a much lighter league somewhere without getting injured. They've got good defensive midfielders now.
Who?
They don't look as good as maybe they can do, but like Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, even Lavia, they're good.
Lavia's
I
injured,
think,
isn't he?
yeah, I think ahead of that, they're really poor. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I think Colin Gallagher's playing really well. I think he's playing really well for him.
No, I agree.
But I don't. What they don't have is they don't have any sort of creative or like presence in their midfield at all, which means they're
Mhm.
then relying on subpar wingers, and they are
Mhm.
subpar. And they've also got like up front,
Bro,
they're
yeah.
relying on
Oh,
Broja coming back. Jackson can't finish. They're obviously like waiting on Nkunku, but now I think about Nkunku that he's not going to have any service. The
no, I
only
know.
person I think is going to provide him service possibly is Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I completely agree. And Cole Palmer is, yes, he's a decent player, but he's not
Yeah,
unbelievable. You wouldn't say, and Raheem
no.
Sterling's not a creative player. Raheem Sterling's someone to get on the end of something. He's not someone that's gonna start playing loads of through balls like he's never done. He's literally just someone who's gonna almost
Mhm.
come in at the back post and be that guy that he's done for City for the last 10 years and also for England.
Yeah.
But no, I completely agree, particularly on Gallagher. Gallagher's been their best player this season. I don't think that's up
I
for
think so
debate
as
too
well. Yeah.
much at all. But what he actually does for the team is he runs absolutely everywhere, similar to that Amrabat kind of comment, like you
Hmm.
said earlier. He completely runs absolutely everywhere. And in this age where everything's a bit more structured and a bit more, I don't know, like you've got your position and Matt's about it. Is he good for Chelsea? Because he seems to just leave a hole when he does go chasing, and then maybe they're getting at the centre mid way too easily. I don't know. I don't know, but it's just off the top of my head there. But um,
I just think
he's
that
also played in this. He's probably been their starting player for the last year and a half, and they have been shocking for a year and a half. This isn't just like 6 months, or this is since I don't know last
it's no
December, last November.
it's since Todd
Todd
Bowley came
Bowley,
in.
which is when is that 2 years, a year,
Um,
year and a
yeah, it
half?
was So in terms of including full summers, it was year and a half.
Yeah, and they've been absolutely like I just don't get this team. Um, Pochettino. I feel really. Everyone feels sorry for him, but actually, sometimes you got to look at yourself and actually go, "What I'm doing here isn't actually helping the players."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know, I mean, we've spoken a lot, but I'm going to say one more thing now, and I can't believe this is coming out of my mouth as a Southampton fan. How, like, honestly, and even looking at his record, how good actually is Pochettino?
Um, I think he's
And
a very good manager.
try.
I think he's a very good manager. You look at what he did at Tottenham, and I think that's where his that really was his baby. I know that they didn't win the league,
No,
but you
it's
can't
for
judge it on that.
me, it's not the winning. I think you also look back at that Spurs team, and I think that he had some really good players,
No, I agree.
really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That team, the spine of that team was
it's very young.
excellent.
It was young, energetic, but that's what this team is as well. That's why they got him, because now he's got a young, energetic team with no recognised superstar like Tottenham had at that time. And it's just not working out at all. I mean, Mudryk looks appalling, and one of the worst players I think I've seen.
Yeah,
awful.
100%. I didn't realise I was going to rant on Chelsea for that long then, but I actually enjoyed that. I really did. I
don't really have too much to say about the next 3 games. Not gonna lie to you, James.
Well, it was quickly. Okay, so Wolves versus Forest, 1-1. Forest actually played quite well. Good to see. Love you, Steve Cooper.
Love you, and they deserve to win. Actually, this game.
Yes, they deserve to win. Absolutely. Yeah, next one we had Luton versus City. Quickly talk on this one. So obviously City ended a 4-game non-winning streak, not losing streak. Beating Luton 2-1. Like City didn't look that they felt inevitable they were going to win. Like they are clearly a better football team than Luton. If I was going to win, but City didn't look very inspiring at all.
I thought so. I actually thought City did look quite inspiring for the first 25-30 minutes, particularly Foden. And then after they didn't score in that period, it just died and went flat. They were so energetic, where literally it was like 85% possession and all of it in the final third, and it was penetrative. It was really good, but after they didn't score for that, it was just like once Luton went 1-0 up, they panicked quite a lot in that second half. They didn't look like they were going to score until that almost lucky deflection that came to Bernardo Silva, and then what a finish.
Yeah, really. 100%. Yeah. I had what's one quick point here that I made. Man City, to me, at the moment at least, look like the Arsenal of last year, where they don't have a plan B. They've got one plan, and if it doesn't work, they don't seem to be able to come up with anything else, which I think is strange for a Pep Guardiola team. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that's a bit harsh on that. Again, they're very reliant on Haaland. I think honestly that transfer obviously helped them win the treble and everything, but from a personal enjoyment of watching Man City, I think it's made the other players around him, particularly that Foden, kind of almost now he has no responsibility. It's almost like before they'd share all the goals between, they scored like 100 goals and it was like 8 different people scored over 10 or something like that. Whereas now it just feels like if he's not there, where's the goal going to come from? And it just doesn't really ever. Even Foden, like going in, like yes, he has like a lot of chances in this game, but you never felt like he was going to score. And Alcaraz as well, not Alcaraz, Alvarez, and Bernardo. Like the list goes on, really. Rodri almost looks like the most likely, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say he does as well.
Yeah. Which, but no centre backs went into midfield, and no right backs or left backs. That's what I noticed about this game. A little bit strange to see Man City not doing that. I don't know why. They obviously didn't feel like it was going to work. But yeah. They kept it very much a 4-3-3. So yeah, that was my note from this game. And Ross Barkley looked really good again.
He did actually, didn't he? So does Andros Townsend.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's quite nice to see these old pros, these ex-pros.
Agreed. Right, and then we have one more game, and I wrote one thing on this. So it was Brighton 1, Burnley 1, and I literally wrote I got nothing.
So I literally just watched the highlights just before we jumped on. It was really open, and the XG again. I looked at that straight after. It's 2.5 for Brighton, and then 1.2 or something for Burnley. Brilliant. But James Trafford made some absolutely key saves in this, and I thought James Trafford was absolutely appalling. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought he was the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League, maybe. Bazunu kind of vibes. But yeah, sorry, James Trafford. But yeah, no, brilliant saves there. I feel like I want to watch more Brighton. I feel like they're I don't know, they're playing a lot. They seem to be playing very slow football. But yeah, I kind of don't really know, and I haven't seen them enough this year. I watched them quite a bit in like October time and September time, but I haven't watched them recently. So yeah, next week I don't know who they've got, but I'm gonna give them a go.
Well,
who is it?
On the subject of that, shall I go through next week's fixtures?
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, yeah, do, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Right. Yeah. So, well, I can start with that one if you like. I'll start with the Sunday. Let's go in reverse. Yeah. So on Sunday we have Arsenal versus Brighton. Come on, Brighton. Come on. We've got Liverpool versus Man United. Can't wait for that. Brentford versus Villa. West Ham versus Wolves. That's the Sunday. Going back in time to Saturday, we have Burnley versus Everton, Newcastle versus Fulham, Man City versus Palace, Chelsea versus Sheffield United, and Bournemouth versus Luton. And I didn't see this until right now. Going back in time again, we have a Friday night football, which is Nottingham Forest versus Tottenham Forest.
The old Tottenham Hotspurs.
The Nottingham Hotspurs versus the Tottenham Forests.
Tottenham Forest. So we've actually got football every day now until obviously we've got Champions League Tuesday, Wednesday, and we've got Thursday, and then on Monday night we spend talking about football. So I mean, this is good, isn't it?
That's the way. I
like it. Genius.
Anyway, so those are a list of the Premier League's games, but here in the Odd Your Head Son podcast, we like to play what we call
the predictions
game. Seamless as ever. Last week, what did we get for points last week? So I went for an Everton win, which was a big tick for me. What did you go for?
I went for Chef U win, 2-1, but it was actually 1-0. But anyway, I got that as well. Big tick. Andy had a stinker. Andy backed West Ham against Fulham. Ooh, and we all know what happened there. Fulham 5-0, 5-star performance from Fulham.
Indeed. Well,
we've only got
4 teams left each now. Before the halfway point in the season. Yeah. So it's getting harder and harder to pick. I guess just quickly, I'm actually not sure if he's going to do one, but let's hope he does. We're going to leave a little gap here for Andy to leave you a little loving and caring message, wishing you all the best during the festive season, but also to give you all his prediction. Take it away, Andy.
Hello, it's the On Your Head Son podcast. I'm going to keep it short and sweet this week. I'm just going to give you my predictions. Gosh, I'm going to go for Chelsea to beat Sheffield United 2-0. Run of the mill, very boring. Have a good day.
Thanks, Andy. So, Matt, who did you go for?
So I have Man City, Newcastle, Everton and Villa left, which I'm very confident in all 4 of those. But for this one, looking at the teams and looking who's playing, Man City at home to Crystal Palace, get right game, 4-0.
Very good. Lucky for you that Andros Townsend isn't there to score another belter at
exactly. But I wouldn't be surprised if Elise did. I kind of want, to be honest, I actually want Elise and Eze to come and just absolutely tear them apart, if I'm being honest. But yeah.
Right, and I am going to go for the big Sunday night affair. I'm going for Liverpool to beat Man United 3-0, and that's just based on the golfing class.
Well, last year it was 7-0. So you sure you don't want to go high?
Was it 7-0 last year?
It was 7-0 last year. It was the most embarrassing performance I think I'd ever seen.
Oh,
I think it was only 1-0 or 2-0 at half time, and then it was 7-0.
No, I think they've now that Maguire's back in the team, they've solidified a little bit.
I love that. I actually think Man U get a result here. I don't know why.
No, they could 100%, but
yeah, I hope they do.
No, you know what? No, they're not going to. Liverpool are going to win. It's going to be a Maguire own goal, an Amrabat own goal, and a Salah.
A Salah. Okay, fair.
A Mo Salah.
Beautiful.
Right. Any closing remarks on what has been a terrific Monday night podcast?
I mean, it has been terrific. So actually, yes, my closing remark is, speaking of Man U just then, I just saw them do a rondo, trying to warm up for Bayern Munich. If you haven't seen it, just YouTube it. It's one of the worst rondos I've ever seen. I think I could be part of that. They literally, it's 2 passes and they boot it away. It's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, that's my closing remark. Man U are still shit at football.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, for me, there's no more closing remarks, which means that we're going to wish you a very good week. We look forward to speaking to you next week. Speaking to you, you will listen to us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, to be
or you
honest,
will
phone in
watch
if you want.
us,
Phone in
or
if you want, baby.
both.
Yeah.
But please do speak to us and comment and let us know how much you like, well, not like, dislike us. We love to hear that. And please berate Andy for not being on the podcast again.
Yeah, he's absolutely useless. He's got his girlfriend there. Ooh.
Oh, I know. Can you believe that? Well, I tell you what, Andy hasn't remembered, but I would like you all to remember that it's on your head, son.
Not off your head.
Son.
Yeah.